Florida real estate, it's been a total roller coaster, right? Soaring highs and all these whispers of a massive crash. But what's really going on as we head through 2026? Well, we're going to cut through all that noise and give you the real, data-driven story of what we're calling the Great Florida Rebalancing. So let's dive right in.
This is it. This is the big question. It's what's keeping potential home buyers up at night and has sellers sitting on the edge of their seats. Is the Florida market a ticking time bomb just waiting to go off? Or is it just finding a new, healthier rhythm? That's what we're here to unpack. You know, to really get where we are now, you have to remember where we've been. And that was the absolute frenzy of the post-pandemic years. I mean, think about it. Bidding wars happening over Zoom, houses selling in a matter of hours, and prices that just seemed to defy gravity. That was the fever, and we're finally seeing the temperature come down. Just look at this contrast. It says it all. The boom, pure chaos. Prices were skyrocketing, competition was just fierce. But 2026, it's the total opposite. It's a market that's finally catching its breath. We're talking about prices stabilizing, more options for buyers, and a pace that, you can actually keep up with. And this really gets to the heart of the story. The experts, they aren't out there screaming crash. What they're talking about is a much-needed normalization. The data is showing a market that's shifting gears, not one that's about to fall off a cliff. And hey, it's not just us saying this. You've got industry leaders like Tim Weishire from Florida Realtors who see this as a good thing. The keywords to really focus on here are balanced and sustainable. See, this isn't a crisis, it's a correction. It's a move toward long-term health. Okay, let's dig into some numbers. Let's talk inventory. Now, months supply sounds technical, but it's simple. It's just how long it would take to sell every single home on the market right now. A healthy, balanced market, that's typically about 5 to 6 months worth. So you can see here, we're sitting at 4.8 months for early 2026. This tells us we are right in that rebalancing zone. It's not a glut of homes, but it's not the crazy scarcity we saw just a couple of years ago either. So inventory is one big piece of the puzzle. But you can't talk about real estate without talking about the really big one, money. So let's shift gears and look at how mortgage rates are totally reshaping the affordability landscape for buyers all across Florida. Here it is. This is the number that's getting a lot of potential buyers excited again. The forecast for the end of 2026 is a 30-year fixed rate of around 5.8%. I mean, after the sticker shock of the last few years, a drop like this is a total game changer for affordability. It's what's pulling buyers back off the sidelines. And what does that actually mean for your wallet? Well, according to the Miami Realtors forecast, even a small drop, we're talking 30 basis points, which is just a fancy way of saying 0.3%, that can save you about $87 a month on a $500,000 home. Now, that might not be a lottery win, but month after month, that really adds up and makes a real difference in a buyer's budget. But let's pump the brakes for a second. While mortgage rates are definitely helping, prices are still, they're still high. The median single-family home price in early 2026 was over $400,000, and that's just a little bit below the all-time peak. So the big takeaway here is, yeah, things are getting better, but affordability is still a massive hurdle for a lot of people. And speaking of huge hurdles, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the issue that has been a massive headache for every single homeowner in Florida: insurance. For years, it's been a full-blown crisis, but we might, just might, be seeing some glimmers of hope. Kiplinger came up with this term, the triple threat, and wow, if you're a Florida homeowner, you know exactly what this means. You feel it in your bank account every month. It's not just the insurance premiums going through the roof. It's that 1-2-3 punch of soaring insurance, higher HOA fees, and rising property taxes that has put a serious squeeze on everybody. But here's some genuinely good news. We are finally seeing some real progress. Those big legislative reforms from the past couple of years, they're actually starting to work. Get this, we have 17 new insurance companies coming into the Florida market. That means more competition, more choice for you. And Citizens, the state's insurer of last resort, it's shrinking fast, and that's a fantastic sign of a healthier private market taking over. So up until now, we've been painting with a pretty broad brush. But as anyone who's ever looked for a house in Florida knows, this isn't one market. It's dozens of them. The story in Miami is a world away from what's happening in Tampa, and that's completely different from what's going on in, say, Ocala. Just check this out. It's a perfect example. Central Florida's I-75 corridor is absolutely on fire right now. And not just because of theme parks. It's becoming this massive logistics and industrial hub. We're talking giant warehouses, huge distribution centers. And all of that commercial boom is fueling a population explosion and a huge demand for housing in cities like Ocala and Leesburg. This table, right here, tells the whole story. The numbers are just stark. Look at how wildly different these forecasts are for 2026. Miami is expected to see a small price bump, right? But then you head over to the Gulf Coast, and it's a completely different universe. Tampa's predicted to see a drop of almost 4%, while Cape Coral could see a really significant decline of over 10%. This is your most powerful reminder that there is no such thing as a single Florida market. And that diversity just keeps going as you look around the state. You go up to Jacksonville, homes are still flying off the market in a little over a month, sometimes with multiple offers. Down in South Florida, the market's being held steady by this constant flow of international money and big corporate moves. And then way out in the Panhandle, Pensacola is showing that classic shift to a more balanced market, where sellers are having to be a little more realistic on their price. Okay, we've covered a ton of ground. Interest rates, insurance, all these hyper-local hotspots. So let's bring it all home. What does it all boil down to for 2026? What's the bottom line for you, whether you're thinking of buying, selling, or just watching from the sidelines?
Here it is, your 2026 Florida real estate cheat sheet. First up, the market is rebalancing. The crazy, frantic days are done. Second, we're expecting modest growth in sales, with prices staying pretty stable. Third, affordability is improving, mostly thanks to those lower mortgage rates we talked about. And finally, and this is the big one, location, location, location. What you experience will depend almost entirely on your specific zip code.
So the big picture for 2026 is stabilization. It's a market that's finding its footing again. But this all leads us to one final crucial question. In a state that is constantly defined by this push and pull between explosive growth and inherent risk, from hurricanes to migration, how long can any balance truly last? That's the question that's going to define the next chapter of the Florida real estate story.